Good afternoon, everyone, and you join us live with Stacey's IHS. Jane was not available, so Jane's could not be here. This is a new and rather worrisome development from Marmatian. This has just been launched recently from the Marmatian shipyard at Dar el Salaam. Now, this is the Mardhar 1 submarine, NATO operating name, the bottle class. This is a very worrisome development because this is a first for Marmatian, first for the African continent, I believe, in What If Land. This is just awaiting a propeller from AliExpress, but that's not going to be here for another 10 days. And therefore I can just mount that on. It doesn't really change anything. And this is a coastal / mini attack submarine, diesel electric. This is Scratchbuilt from bottles, hence the name of bottle class. And I quite like it. I hope you do too. Now, this is revolutionary for Marmatian. It is their attempt to gain leverage. Now, they recently were planning to launch their Tu-22s again, but they were attacked by a Malagasy What If strike, Operation Red Duck. See the videos featuring the Vulcans, Hustlers and other aircraft. Now, Marmatian wants to be competitive and to be taken seriously. And it wants to threaten world trade routes. So it's building around 20 of these attack submarines, these diesel electric small attack submarines. They are modelling their strategy on the Iranian strategy. And Iran, of course, has the Ghadir strategy submarine, the Ghadir submarine, and the Fateh submarine, and the Kilo class submarine. Now, this is smaller than a Kilo class submarine, and it's smaller than the Malagasy Type 212, and it's less advanced than the Malagasy Type 212, but it's still a very potent and threatening weapon system. It is more competent than the Iranian Ghadir class because it has 4 torpedoes as opposed to 2. And these can also carry the Marmad 1 cruise missiles. It's a lot bigger than the Ghadir class mini submarine, better hull shape and more space for the crew to work in, a larger crew. And it's a more capable attack system, so it can be used to attack the trade routes in the Indian Ocean and going up towards the Suez Canal, giving Marmatian strategic leverage. Now, the submarine has a sonar at the front, like most submarines, a passive and active sonar. The most important bit is the passive. The 4 torpedoes are externally mounted to the pressure hull. So to reload them, it's ballasted at the back and they're slotted in from the front. Now, internally, it has a pressure hull inside this outer hull. It has 4 mounted sail planes here on the sail. This is called the sail. It's got a radar here, 2 periscopes, antennae for comms, and of course the snorkel. And the snorkel is the most important bit. Coming back, we have the propulsion section here. We've got a hatch at the rear and a hatch at the front. And then up here is a little bridge area covered by a hatch where, when it's on the surface, the command team can sit in that little area and guide the submarine. It's got a knife tail with 2 rear dive planes at the back, or hydroplanes, and the rudder. Now, the idea of this submarine is that it spends most of its time underwater, like a submarine should. And therefore the snorkel is incredibly important. Now, it's not air independent propulsion. So let's have a look at what it's like inside. Well, here we go. Here is the inside of the bottle class. So this is actually 45.36 meters long in reality. In model form, it's 63 centimeters long. So it sits between the Ghadir mini sub and the Type 212, which is 56 meters long. So here's the plan for the submarine. So the front section here, which is this bit here in the pressure hull, this is an outer hull with an inner pressure hull. So at the front here, you've got the sonar, you've got the torpedoes or cruise missiles off to one side, front ballast tank, pressure hull, crew area. You've got ballast tanks on the outside of the pressure hull and compensation tanks, and your fuel tanks. And then at the rear, you've got your rear ballast tank here outside the pressure hull, your control motors and motors for the rudder outside. And the idea is that your fuel, your water, big oxygen bottles, and the ballast tanks are all separated away from the crew pressure hull, giving you much better survivability. So here is what it would look like inside. The front area is the crew area, a little rest area with bunks, emergency life support equipment at the front. There's the hatch where you can use to dive out if you need to. Batteries underneath, keeping the weight low. Then there's a command section, so you've got a food store and galley. Hatch to the sail, that just goes into the sail here. And then you've got the periscopes, your communications, your control equipment, your dive control equipment, and all of your comms. Toilet here with a little store underneath for the waste. The waste then goes out to storage tanks outside the pressure hull for venting or for storage. The snorkel comes in from the sail, goes to the fueling mixing systems here, which are taking fuel in from outside the pressure hull. You've got your diesel engine for when you're running under snorkel, when you can charge up the batteries again. That's all raft mounted, so that's mounted on rubber mounts to make for quiet running. You've got your generator here to generate electricity, powering your motor, which powers the shaft going back, which will lead to the propeller when it arrives from China. Up here, you've got your compressed air system, air conditioning system, and at the back again, you've got your life support systems, emergency life equipment, and another hatch and diving area. So the crew would be 12, range about 2,000 nautical miles. Submerged time a 1 week without snorkeling, and indefinite really with snorkel, although you're limited by food and fuel to 8 weeks max at sea. That compares to 3 weeks with the air independent propulsion on the Type 212 and 12 weeks endurance on the Type 212. So it's not bad for what it is. Weapons wise, it has 4 533mm torpedo tubes, which can carry the Marmad 1 cruise missile. Now that's incredibly worrying development, because that's an anti-ship cruise missile or anti-land cruise missile, depending on the warhead. And you've got the ability to have active torpedoes there, or passive torpedoes, and these cruise missiles. So this is a very dangerous development. We don't know what its submerged depth is. It's likely to be less than the Type 212, but more than the Iranian Ghadir class. So this will mean that the naval war in 1 in 72 is due to kick off. I hope you like the submarine. Just need that propeller to arrive. But